So David also includes, as a curiosity, the first 2 pages of what First Blood, what they looked like prior to publication back in '72. The original I can't say the original. I can say, some of the last two pages of First Blood while they were going through the last minute manuscript changes. He goes on to state he was still making changes, till the very last minute on typewriter and corrected by hand. And it's a little messy at first glance, but what an unfathomably cool thing to see if you're an appreciative collectible like we are down here. It brought back tears of excitement to see Rambo and Teasel hook up once more, and it's just very, very cool to see, like, the corrections, and then David's work over the corrections, and you can kind of appreciate that going back in your mind and kind of saying, damn, the work. It's not like today with the computer, tip top to top, type, and go back and change this and change that very easily. He reveals it was a very grueling process to actually go back and do those corrections, hammering page to page, hammering the ink off of one page onto another page. Fascinating. It just shows how far we've come. It's pretty mind-blowing when you really think about it. There's even a Kirk Douglas section included as well with the classic Kirk Douglas as Troutman poster. Very rare, and a spread coincide. It seems to me that there was a third piece to this that they left out of this publication. The one with Sly with the headband tied to his head in more of like a wound dressing fashion. It's like a white bandana, and it's wrapped multiply across his head, kind of like he has a wound under there that he's like, tying together, tied to his head. I really love that pic. In more of like like the wound dressing fashion. Brent Whiteside and I both believed that this would come with an actual poster, as addressed in one of the statements on Gauntlet Press, like way back. But sadly, they didn't. I contacted Gauntlet Press for comment, but no dice. They said that very sorry to everyone for the misinterpretation, but there was no poster. But, it is nice to see the poster, at least in the book. Morel, even though it's in black and white, Morel notes that the ads appeared in Variety magazine in the fall of 1981, about a year before release of the film. They appear courtesy of the late Coralco. And then we move on to some more really cool special features. The First Blood covers, there's a multitude of book cover shots. The dead hand with the rifle, the very wolf-like Rambo and Teasel scenery cover with Rambo's close-up on Rambo's face and Teasel standing against the scenery in the background. My favorite, the one that shows the original version of Rambo running with the rifle. They have that one too. That one's my favorite. He's long-haired and bearded, and flannel shirt. He's got that flannel shirt on, scruffy, running from the book. I believe it's the first version of Rambo ever drawn. I believe the actual first version of Rambo ever drawn. The first time Rambo has gone from the page to actual photo-esque form or artist rendition of the form. So it's very, very cool. Then there's the Rambo running through the Star Pendant Medal of Honor. That's with the also with the what do you call that? The ad, the publication. What was it called? Yeah, the Publisher's Weekly ad. We have that cover also, a different version of that cover Rambo running through the Star Pendant Medal of Honor. There's a one sheet with about 20 different covers culled together, including the original one I first bought decades ago with the knife and dog tags, some First Blood Part 2 covers in the mix here as well. And it was really nice to see that the cover of the book I had was in this list. But that last one, there's like 20 different covers on it. That last spreadsheet, and it's got like some Rambo 2 covers, mainly First Blood ones. I didn't really notice if there was a Rambo 3 one. I kind of looked, but I couldn't tell. Some of the areas are darker, so maybe there was a Rambo 3 in there that I missed. Alright. So we go on to some photos from David Morrell's collection. This collection also houses 2 photos from Morrell's personal collection. The first depicting an old schoolhouse. Doesn't that sound familiar, people? An old schoolhouse in Bellefonte, that he would model the police station on for the fictional town of Madison, Kentucky, not to be confused with Hope, Canada, or Hope, Washington, like in the film adaptation. On the other was a street that ran through Bellefonte where you could use a vending machine to buy fish food for the Fishbelode reservoir. In the book, this area comes into play in the classic disarming scene where Rambo starts running through his mind crazy, like all the ways he can disarm or kill Teasel before Teasel can draw his gun, and use him as fish food. Wouldn't that be something? It's one of my favorite scenes from the book where Rambo almost eats a little bit before that. He almost eats the vending machine. He thinks it's like candy or something or peanuts, but the content he gets the contents by accident, wasting little money he has left, noticing that it's fish food. And Morrell adds he had little money himself at the time he snapped this pic. He doesn't even know whose camera it was on, which is kind of cool. He goes on to talk about how his wife would remind him of certain things from back in the day to add stories to this collection. And that's a wonderful thing, that Mrs. Morrell has done. And I just love that David would include this in here. And once again, that is one of my favorite scenes. I guess the equivalent to that scene in the movie First Blood with Sylvester Stallone and Brian Dennehy would be, you're going to put your hands on that car. Either way, you decide now, you're going to put your hands on the car. That, classic, Rambo coming over that little bridge. Cut back to, in the book, Rambo at the little bridge reservoir with the fish underneath, getting the vending machine food, How about I kill you and throw you overboard? Then the fish would have something to eat. Wouldn't that be something? Alright, let's move on. The First Blood publicity postcards. There's an array of these sweet publicity postcards. At least 7. It's great to see this vintage stuff included a la black and white. Very, very, very cool. It's explained that in the innocent era of marketing, McEwen and Co., the publishers got some good air notice from making this series of postcards to bookstores and people of influence, and Morrell explained then, them as crimson, explained them as crimson borders, bordered, crimson boarded. Sorry, I got tongue-tied there for a second. And they were handed out weeks apart from January to March. A lost art that would definitely make the new generation feel more appreciated in film and in book releasing. And then we move on to the last piece here, which is First Blood featured in the Literary Guild. the finishing move on this Biblica of Rambo is a look at, First Blood being featured, and then into an alternate of the literary guild, Art of Rambo. There's Art of Rambo naked here, running through the woods while be given chase by deputies with bloodhounds, just like in the book. And he is also heavily haired and bearded, which is one of the many reasons he was mistreated. And Morrell adds a side note of a personal situation where people of authority treated him hostile for growing a mustache. But don't worry, David, I too have come under fire for my beard and hair and stash as well. And, I like how they got this cool warrior bust on here, sporting a sort of ancient tribal neckwear he's got on there. Very Greek mythology. Very, very Greek mythology. And I just love that. I love that look, I'm not going to lie. I have that original Rambo look. Right down to the flannel and the beard and the long hair and the mustache. So, there you have it. I want to thank David Morrell for giving us all the chance to get this equally and for making this treasure available to the world, to all of us diehard fans who really appreciate your works of art and the cool and generous things you do for us. And this really means a lot to me, and I think I can speak for all of us when I say that you've really changed our lives for the better and have created some of the best friendships the world has ever seen. The Rambo fanbase community is one of the best community fan bases out there I've ever witnessed. Home to some of the most unique people on the planet. Some of the best people you would ever meet. So from the bottom of my heart, and all of us watching, those who wrote in and who submitted for tonight's episode, thank you, David, so much, and so much more than you will ever know. You have moved mountains and have impacted the planet, giving us unfathomable, infinite inspiration. Make no mistake, you have saved lives. You have saved my life and gave everyone hope for the best tomorrow imaginable. And if more people shared that your kind of thirst and enthusiasm and practices of stand back kindness, just some of the best kindness and paying it forward and using your heart to live by, then the world would be a perfect place to live in. Having you in it has made it a better place already. And that's all I got for you guys tonight. So, alright, that's it for tonight. Hope you've enjoyed our 3-year anniversary. It's on to year 3. Thank you all for joining us down this long road that is Rambomania. You at home, yes, you sitting there, you make all the difference. Nothing is over. Thank you for watching. And in 2 weeks, we'll be back for the 25th, or on the 25th of November. I got my Movember going on for our ever so long awaited Creed review. But till then, next week, when we return, we're going to look at Andrew LeMay's screenplay for Drago. Yes, I said it. The communist boxing redemption movie, Drago. So if you don't want to wait another 5 years, as Troutman would say, for the next Rocky spin-off, already in development with Bridget Nielsen, Macaulay Culkin, and Dolph Lundgren, and it's official, then tune in here for the whole story, end and beginning, and spoiled through and through. It's, one of a kind, and it's awesome. It's awesome. You're going to love it. And this thing is in petition right now to get made. All these stars are attached. More than these stars. There's a lot more in here that we'll get to next week. And trust me, you'll be fucking surprised who's in this movie. And it's on the petition to get made. So if Creed does well, we're going to get that. And we're going to get the Mighty Mick movie. And I can't wait for both of those. Imagine that. 3 potential new trilogies alongside the double trilogy standing Rocky Balboa's, one of a kind movies. All of them. So, later. Peace be with you.